Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Glam Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about giving your lower back a break and therefore getting better gains. Mountain. So today on Patreon, somebody asked me how they can give their lower back a rest, or basically they talked about the fact that because they're not in the gym yet, they don't have access to a leg press, so they're stuck squatting all the time. So of course that puts a lot of burden on not only your overall system when it comes down to your leg training, but sometimes you will find that there are certain areas that you will overtrain if you're always training the same type of exercises, especially those exercises that include lower back muscles. Now, one thing that a lot of times people do is that they get stuck in using the most effective exercise, the exercise that's the best, whether it's the squat or the deadlift or the bent over row, and they get so married to those exercises that they can overdo them. Now, one technique that a lot of bodybuilders use and a lot of veterans use is the variation principle, let's just call it that, where you know that by varying up the exercises, you are giving some muscles a rest that have a tendency to overtrain. Now, what I mean by this is, say you're squatting every single leg day and you're doing legs 2 times a week, 3 times a week, and every single time you're squatting, you are using your lower back. Now, on your back day, say you're deadlifting every single time, or you're doing heavy bent over rows every single time, again, you're using that lower back. And one thing you will find is that lower back or the lower back muscles have a tendency to recover at a slower rate. Now, this could be for a couple reasons. One of the reasons is that you're using the lower back all the time. Just in straight posture, when you're walking around, your lower back muscles are always firing isometrically. But at the same time, you're also using those muscles in your back training. You might be using them in your shoulder training too, when you're doing standing shoulder presses and that sort of thing, or even bicep curls, you're using the lower back muscles. As long as you're standing, the lower back is involved. You'll know this for sure. If you ever tweak your lower back, you'll see how many times that you're using your lower back at a workout that you just took it for granted, right? So one thing that you want to do is notice what muscles seem to be overtraining. And one thing you will notice is that the lower back has a tendency to do this. So if you're squatting all the time, your lower back might be keeping you from making gains because the lower back becomes more and more fatigued or achy or whatever, and therefore you cannot push deeper into failure when it comes down to your leg training, right? So one thing that I discovered a long time ago was that some workouts I would say, hey, I'm going to not really include the lower back in this leg workout as much as I can anyway. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of lower back involvement, but I'm going to try to minimize that by doing things like walking lunges with dumbbells, because the dumbbells change the center of gravity. There's going to be a little bit less stress on the lower back, or quite a bit less than doing deadlifts, hamstring deadlifts like Romanian deadlifts, or squats, right? There's no doubt you use a lot less lower back from doing a walking lunge. Now, I also would do leg presses, which definitely take the lower back out of the movement. Mountain. Or I do lunges on the Smith machine, or step ups. Just a small step up with some dumbbells in my hand and really burn those legs out, but give the lower back a rest. Now, by doing this, what happened was I was able to go deeper into failure with the leg training. And at the same time, when I did come back to doing squats, the lower back did not stop me from, or at least not as much so, from going into deep failure in the leg training, right? Because again, remember, squat failure means you can't maintain proper form with that lower back. Once that lower back even feels like it might fail in a weird way by twisting funny or something like that, the set is done. So you do not want to continue a set if you feel that you cannot keep that lower back in the proper position. Otherwise, you'll hurt the back or you'll injure it. So the fact is that you want to have a fresh lower back, or at least a lower back that feels like it's pretty strong and able to maintain proper form when you are squatting or deadlifting or doing bent over rows. So it's not a bad idea to give it a rest. And even on your back day, to say, hey, I'm going to avoid bent over row movements today, or I'm going to avoid doing a lot of lower back excessive stuff. I'm going to do more a pull-up type movement. And maybe if I'm going to be doing rows, I'll do like hammer strength rows or rows on a machine where my chest is supported, therefore giving the lower back a break. Now, by doing this again, you're going to be able to push those major muscle groups deeper into failure without exploiting the weakness of the lower back quite so much, because the lower back, again, is the weaker area. Not necessarily from a strength or contractile point of view. Mountain.
More like wings.
More like wings. I'm a bird. I'm a bird, yeah, bird brain. But more from the fact that the lower back has a big job to stabilize a lot of different joints, and it has to do a lot of different things, which cause it a lot of times to have a tendency to hit overtraining more so than, say, the lats or biceps or something like that, right? Because it is a postural muscle. So yeah, once in a while when you walk in that gym and you're doing leg day, do some step-ups, do some lunges, do some leg presses, and don't do squats. And then the next time you come into the gym and do squats, the squats will be even more effective, because those major muscle groups are hitting failure, and it's not just the weak link in the exercise called lower back becoming even a weaker link and not allowing you to really take those major muscle groups such as the quadriceps and the hamstrings to failure, or the lats or the upper traps and things like that. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Oh yeah, YouTube has stopped sharing my stuff, so share it if you can. Share my stuff, share my videos, share them with your friends or something. Don't worry, most people are not gonna get better than you. Don't worry, they're not gonna even follow my advice. Most people don't even believe what I'm saying. So if you share my video, don't worry about it. They're not gonna get better gains than you, all right? All these people worried that everybody's gonna steal their gains, that, you know, if they share Jason's video with somebody, then that person's gonna outgrow them or something. It's like, they'll just think I'm some crazy, weird, long-haired old dude on the internet giving them shitty advice. That's what they're probably gonna think. Most likely, that's what they're gonna think, and you're not gonna have to worry about it. You're just going to keep on making gains. They're going to be like, oh, how'd you do that? How'd you make gains? Well, you know, I basically followed some of the tips that Jason shared on his Natural Gland Bodybuilding YouTube channel. And they're going to be like, as if, right? And they're just going to walk. But there might be that one guy that sticks around. Hey, you know, it's not a bad idea to have a couple more people, a couple more Galantians around. You know what I'm saying? The more Galantians, the better. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a good idea. So yeah, share my stuff. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalglandbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain.